Welcome to the inner sanctum of the chilluminatti. You didn't find us by accident. You were tuned in. So go ahead and lean back 33 degrees. Close the blinds, light the candles, and forget everything they told you was real. The chilluminatti are in the air.
Of my soul, yeah. Oh, oh, baby, I just wanna show you what a clear view there is from every bend in the road. Now listen. Oh, whoa, whoa. As I was relieved before you too, honey, as you would for me. I will show your love.
Oh yeah, this Friday night is Ground Zero Plus. Welcome into the inner sanctum of the chilluminatti. Brother Rio, are you there?
Good evening.
I see you've lit the incense and turned the lights down in the studio. It's time for the chilluminatti. We invite you to lean back 33 degrees and cold chill. Well, if you joined us last night, we talked a little bit about some of what we see coming down the pike. And we're going to touch base on a little bit of that tonight, but we're also going to be talking about the black noise. Found an interview with David Bowie on the Dick Cavett show where he was talking about something called black noise. So, of course, you knew what I did after that.
And the thing that you're hearing is only the sound of the low spot high heel boy.
So I got a whole bunch of video, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, if you're listening, you won't be able to see the video. But I do have some video of some anomalies that have been noticed.
Oh?
Yeah. So it seems that there's some sort of a pulsing NextRad broadcast that's happening, going on at night, starting, believe it or not, at 9:11 p.m. Pacific. And goes until 9:11 a.m. the next day. And continued on for days doing that. And it's interesting, I have the video of it, and I'll play it. There is some talking on the video, where the guy that made the video is explaining some of what he's seeing. But it's really the kind of thing that you're going to need the visual impact of it, because literally you can see the broadcast pulse from coast to coast, and it's a pulse from coast to coast going on all night long.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it in the black noise spectrum, or is it in the, is it brown noise?
Well, I'm not sure what spectrum it's in, and it has nothing to do with the black noise thing unless it does.
Well, so it could.
So I found this a week ago. Had nothing to do with the black noise, but I just never got around to bringing the video over here for everybody to see it. And so that's what's weird about it, is that it's in some respects it kind of ties into what we've been saying about this tonality and this harmonization. And so, just given the very nature of how wireless works and what it is, actually radiation of the signal, And so lots of people have been complaining about being tired. Like, I'll take a poll right now in the chat, man. If you're always getting tired every day, you guys feel tired? Let me know. Let me know if you guys feel tired, because I'm hearing about it from lots of people that have nothing to do with each other. It just comes up as a complaint. So we thought it might have something to do with the ozone layer, the magnetic field, and the atmosphere, and that certain radiation was getting through that wasn't getting through before. Just simply because if you've ever had radiation treatments, which I have, 5 weeks every day getting blasted with radiation. And so I know how it feels to be radiation tired. And it's the kind of tired that you can't explain. And it's the kind of thing that almost just at some point, after you've been blasted with it, you just reach this moment where you just can't stay awake anymore. And you just got to sleep. You know, and it happens all at once. So now, Rio, have you been having any issues sleeping?
Oh yeah, we've discussed this quite a bit actually. Yeah, I've had a lot of problems sleeping for like I don't know, about 2 or 3 years now.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's a long time.
It is, and it's it does contribute to chronic fatigue in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But and there's the occasional night where I'll pass out at 9 o'clock and sleep all the way through till 4 or 5 in the morning. Get my 7 or 8 hours. But then there's other times where no matter how exhausted I am, I'm up every 2 hours all night long.
Yeah.
And then I'm I nap during the day. And I get up for a couple hours and do some stuff, and I take another nap during the day.
Well,
and like you just never feel refreshed.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that this show was one of the first shows to point something out, and that is that there's a particular time every night where there's something people wake up at 3 in the morning, between 3 and 4. I mean, there's lots of people that there's esoteric reasons why people wake up between 3 and 4, and lots of people think that's the reason. But there's another reason, and that is that smart meters got to download, man. Smart meters got to transmit data, and they're going to do it when there's less traffic on the network and the Internet of Things. So that's really in the middle of the night. So that time your meters is sitting there, but then all of a sudden it starts blasting, a watt of whatever frequency it is. I think it's in the 800 megahertz range, somewhere in there. Even if I knew the exact frequency, it's against the law for me to say it because I work in Telecom. So, but because all the carriers' frequencies, that's privileged information. They don't want you, to even know about it. And there's, like we've talked about, there's frequencies everywhere. Like, remember when there used to be TV and you used to have UHF and VHF?
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember when that went away? The VHF went away, or the UHF. I forget which one went away. One of them went away, and the one that went away, they immediately started slicing up what's called the white space.
Yeah, that was the UHF that they cut. The UHF band they cut down.
Yeah. So then they sold off the white space.
Yeah, well, you got to put your cell phone somewhere, right?
Well, listen, let me ask you a question, because just now in this conversation, this has happened organically right now. I just remembered about this white space auction. Now, in this moment, I'm thinking to myself, who bought frequencies in the white space and who is broadcasting in the white space around me and in my house and between devices? That's what we should be looking at right now. Or we will look at it. I mean, I can't.
Well, the white space on the UHF band was television. I forget how many channels it was, but I remember we used to have a local channel 62, I think. It was either 62 or 64 that was around here, and there were a couple other ones that you could get. The old black and white TV used to have 2 knobs on it. Way back when I was a kid, and you had to flip the switch, and you could, you could tune in, and you had to, fine tune it with the little fine tuner. And they got rid of that. Well, partially because cable became a thing, but they needed the space for cell phones and cordless phones.
There's only so many frequencies, man.
Yeah,
and all the other ones. Listen to me. All the other ones were allocated. So cell phone carriers, all these different people bought up the frequencies, and that happened when Clinton made that happen with the Telecommunications Act. Remember that?
Yep.
So they sold away the people's airwaves. Guys bought it up, made companies out of it, and now they broadcast on these frequencies. And there's nothing. And it's not against the law, but they have to be under the FCC. Now, I want to find out. I'm going to ask ChatGPT right now because I want to find out what these white space frequencies are being used for, and who owns the white space. That's what we want to find out, Rock and Rio. Hey.
I'll do a little quick search here for the FCC.
Yeah, do a quick search because this is Into the Microcosm and we're organic right here on Ground Zero Plus. Let me just say, shit happens, you know, it happens all the time on here. So what we're going to do, Rio's going to look at that and I'm going to ask ChatGPT a question. And in the meantime, here, I'll throw a little chunk of music on real quick.
I have the PDF.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, Rockin' Rio's got fiber now over there. He's rocking at the speed of light. All right, stand by. I'm going to ask a question. There goes Fall. Band on the Run LP. Michael Donahue sent me a message today saying, Jimmy, when you play old cool rock songs, hang on, CAC is at the door. Michael Donahue, I just want to say thanks for messaging me. And he said, hey, Jimmy, you guys, you play cool old songs, you should say what it is. And I do, I am bad about that, so I'll try to do better, because I know you want to go, sometimes you hear something on here, you want to go listen to it yourself without all the cumbersome, everything else that goes along with it. CAC, we've been joined by CAC. What's happening, CAC?
Hey, you guys.
What's going on?
What's cackling?
I'm glad you're cackling along. Listen, I'm glad you're here, so jump in here because now we're gonna backtrack a little bit to last night, because last night we're talking about moving in the future. We're talking about positive ID while we're looking into this white space thing. So I wanted you to come on because you had found something real interesting from an ID perspective. So come on in here and jump in and tell people what's going on with that. And I do have that video. I can get it. Is it? I can get the video. Hang on. Do you need me? You want me to grab the video so we can play it? Hang on.
Oh, the clip?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
right,
if you're squeamish, yeah, don't look at it.
Well, no,
it makes me kind of sick.
Does he explain though? Does he say something? Is he explaining it, or is he just showing it to you?
He's like, it's just the visuals. I mean, there's a voice on there. I think he's Pakistani. You can barely understand him.
Forget it. Just tell people, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, it's that injectable chip, and I was doing a little deep diving on some XRP, and they can put XRP basically right in between your thumb and index finger on your left hand for easy swiping. And came across a video of it, and the guy showed his hand and how he was moving this chip underneath the skin, and oh man. Anyway, that could be popping up on your screen any minute here. I'm just on I'm on the Skype.
All it's gonna take is like your Brad Pitt or your Angelina Jolie to go get one and start parading around with it. But I don't know.
Your Sean Penn. Yeah, don't forget your Sean Penn.
Yeah, well, it seems like to be honest, I really most of these A-list celebrity spokespeople have political spokespeople have sort of disappeared all of a sudden because there seems to be quite a bit of evidence against a lot of these people. I'm going to say this too, man, and look, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to say right now, I saw, and I didn't click on this, I just saw it as I was scrolling because somebody else posted this on the internet, and it was a picture from Hunter Biden's laptop.
Ooh.
And it was a picture of Epstein Island, and it had a you know, there was, this picture looked a lot like our current president. So I could see that Hunter Biden laptop thing is a pretty serious thing, and we're not going to be getting into that tonight. Rock and Rio, ChatGPT gave me the lowdown on a lot of where these frequencies went. And it looks like we're actually on to something here, and we are correct, sir.
They went to mobile, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so here, you want me to, what do you got? Because I got some bullet points here, and I can just blow through them real quick.
I've got this whole chart. It's very, it's a very big chart, but it's very
so it's 700 megahertz. It's the 700 megahertz band between 698 and 806, auctioned off in 2008 to Verizon and others. So the top buyers were 600 megahertz auction in 2017. T-Mobile purchased 45% of the available spectrum for $8 billion. Biggest winner used for expanding low-band 5G coverage. Dish Network acquired spectrum to build out standalone 5G network. Comcast and Charter both bought regional spectrum for mobile services and to reduce reliance on other networks. U.S. Cellular acquired spectrum to enhance coverage in rural markets. So primarily 5G and 4G LTE networks, especially low-band 5G that offers wide coverage and good building penetration. Good building penetration. The Internet of Things network, wide area connectivity for smart devices, particularly in rural industrial settings. Private LTE 5G used by businesses, campuses, and cities. Rural broadband expansion. So, so there's the white space. So it went to the cell. It basically went to the cell carriers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess there was no regular people getting any of that white space. You didn't get your chunk of the white space, man? What's wrong with you?
Do you need rabbit ears for those?
You used to. Yeah, I used to get the tin foil, and sit there. Kids were usually the direction finders. If you had kids, you sent them over to the TV.
Yeah, my dad used to say, "Go stand over by the TV." Yeah,
it's true, man. It is true.
That's right. You touch the antenna and you become part of the antenna yourself, right?
You are the antenna, man. That's what we've been trying to say. So we're talking about tonight. We're talking a little bit about frequencies, and we're gonna get freaky with it because, like I said, I found this video, CAC, and here's David Bowie kicking it with Dick Cavett, and he all of a sudden starts saying how there's something called black noise, and there's some French scientist who got a patent for it, and he can use it to destroy cities. It's pretty interesting, just off the cuff shit from some rock star hanging out over on the couch at Dick Cavett.
Well, you got to realize that David Bowie is known to be and has admittedly, he was a black magician. And so his experimentation with the black noise is not really a surprise. And, you may not have even realized it, Jimmy, but we discussed this a couple of weeks ago without ever calling it black noise when we talked about spread spectrum silent sound.
I know.
His experimentation with the black noise is not really a surprise.
Sorry about that.
What's going on there?
Hey, I just heard somebody talking about black noise.
Yeah, you heard me on like a long echo.
That was weird. No, it was.
I had to turn that down. I got two phones going right now. So,
okay, so
yeah.
that's what it was.
Okay.
Sorry
All right.
about that. My bad.
No, I'm trying to
And, you know-
find. I'm trying to find this recording. Hang on, I have it here.
At the same time, Dick Cavett Show, David Bowie, there was also Lou Reed and Iggy Pop, and they were the unholy trinity, and they hung out a lot in Paris. So they were probably up to all kinds of stuff.
Hang on a second here, man.
Well,
yeah.
In my circle of, back in the rock star days, I never actually met Bowie, but I did know his niece, and she used to tell me some pretty interesting stories about him.
Man, this is really fucking irritating me.
To lead the new global digital payment system,
very much
and
into
they
black
use
magic, and using it through music. Maybe not so much the stuff like Ziggy Stardust back in the day. He was just a little strange back then, but definitely by the time he hit the 80s and 90s, he was full out, like in casting spells through music without question. Like she told me about it and how they did it, and some of the weird things he used to do. He did do sacrifices and stuff like that, blood sacrifices.
No.
Oh yeah. Wow. That whole album, Black Star. Honestly, I've checked it and analyzed it. That is some serious mind poison right there. I would never listen to that. As a friendly advice.
Okay. Yeah, I won't go there. Yeah. Pass on that.
But black noise is it's weird because it's something that's been recording engineers have known about it for a long time. It's a lot of times it's used to counteract static or white noise.
Yeah. Think of
in the studio, but
it's subs, and it's inaudible.
Yeah. It's.
Hang on a second.
Well, it's not necessarily always inaudible, but it is always a very low frequency and very low decibel.
All right, stand by.
Yeah, like a subwoofer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those kids that have their cars going boom, 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 boom down the road, they have no idea what kind of damage that does. Not only to your hearing, but to your heart rate and your brain waves and all sorts of
your circadian rhythms and all that.
Yeah. Anything below 10 hertz is really dangerous to play with at any significant levels. 8 hertz can cause a heart attack if you set it right. If you have the right modulation on it.
Here, black noise. It's a destructive frequency void. It causes disruption in body structure and cognition, possibly used in historical resets or natural events. Electromagnetic field collapse. The Earth's magnetic shield holds pressure. When it weakens, it flips and pressure releases upward. Black noise. So the concept of when you see these soldiers and they march on a bridge and they're all marching in cadence, and then the bridge, have you seen that video?
Yeah, you're supposed to break step when you cross a bridge because you don't want to harmonic frequency the bridge out of existence.
No. Yeah.
And you half step it.
Yeah, so the thing is that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight, because this black noise concept started me thinking about the Great Reset. And so black noise doesn't necessarily have to be artificial. So this black noise phenomenon could happen just simply by some natural things that are happening on the Earth to cause that vibration, And so we've seen a lot of people talking about the poles moving. It's moving at a rapid rate. The internal mechanism inside the Earth has started to slow, and then even some people are saying it's even begin to reverse. And these kind of things happening with the magnetic fields could cause this black noise phenomenon that may be responsible for some of the liquefaction event we've seen across the plane on this, the great Tartarian mystery, the society that existed before, and all of a sudden, things aren't the way they were. And maybe it's because of this whole concept of this black noise. Now, jump in here because I need to go over. I know I just sent this to you in Skype.
Well, there's like also the polar shifting that's been going on, with the planet that affects all the electromagnetism and definitely the tectonic plates and all the geology,
All right. I think,
earthquakes cause black noise as well. So.
Oh, yeah.
And brown noise.
Dogs could hear it. It gets super quiet. You're absolutely right, Rio.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's one of the things that freaks the animals out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here.
Black noise and brown noise.
Take a listen. Take a listen to this. Here we go.
Let's not give the inspiration. What is black noise?
Black noise.
Yeah.
Black noise is something that Barrow's got very interested in.
Intriguing.
Well, no, the one facet of black noise is that everything, like a glass, if for not listening, hits a particular note, the vibrations are that of the metabolism of the glass and it cracks it. Yeah? So a black noise is the register within which you can crack a city or people, or it's a new controlled bomb. It's a noise bomb, in fact, which can destroy.
Is it a real thing, and is it something that
it's invented in France?
Could a tyrant use it to?
Well, until last year, you could buy the patent for it in the French patent office for about equivalent to $3-4.
And it would wipe out it's concentrated.
It depends how much money you put into it. I mean, a small one could probably kill about half the people, but a big one could destroy a city, or even more. I mean,
it's a weird idea.
That's not my idea.
No.
Ziggy played guitar, jamming good with Weird and Gilly and the spiders from Mars. He played it left hand, but made it too far. Became the special man, then we were Ziggy's band. Ziggy really sang, screwed up eyes and screwed down hairdo, like some cat from Japan.
718-618-9905 is the number to call. Black noise. I think it's the noise that you hear right before the reset.
So where were the spiders while the fly tried to break our bones? But just the fear like to guide us. So we bitched about his fans and should with crutches sweet hands.
It's Ground Zero Plus. That's where you're only gonna find Into the Microcosm Saturday night. Chilluminatti. All right.
Would you like to hear an example of some black noise?
That just did that all by itself. All right, go ahead.
Would you like to hear an example of some black noise?
Yes, please.
Okay, I have sound generation capability.
That's why you're the Rock and Rio.
Here you go.
I don't like it.
Yeah, huh?
Like I say, for some reason, when I think of this concept of black noise, I immediately think of the Saturnalian time clock and the Saturnalian time trap.
The black cube.
And you're just sucked. Yeah, it's just sucked into the box, man. And you're just trapped in here. You know, you're in the 8-foot box somewhere in America or around the world. You know, you need headspace. You know what I mean?
Oh.
A human being needs headspace.
We have a caller coming in.
You got to have some high ceilings in your house in order to think. And if you don't have high ceilings, you got to go outside to think. All right, great. Who's calling?
727.
Hey, Chris, what's happening, brother?
How are you?
Good. So the numbers are still working?
Cool. Yeah, it works. Surprisingly, it's pretty same, just like normal Skype, but it's not Skype. It's calling.web.skype.com.
Wow. So it sounds like
yeah.
Sounds like they're going to keep it around for a bit.
Yeah, it's a great deal for me. I pay like $4 or $5 for a month, right, to call America. So.
Yeah, I think till the time of your subscription runs out, I think our call-in number lasts till like October, November or something. So it'll still be around for a while. I'm not sure how it works. If it'll dial to Skype or it'll dial to Teams or whatever it'll do, but
yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But everything's going well here at Ground Zero Plus. I looked at some of the numbers today. We've had over 216,000 site visitors, with almost a little over 500,000 page views. So,
wow,
pretty cool.
Wow,
We're getting a whole lot of radio listeners, and you guys are a big part of the schedule. You guys are live Friday, Saturday, and of course we got Polly Saturday, Sunday. We got Wake and Bake on Sunday as well.
Yeah, man.
And then I'm replaying the shows throughout the week also in the schedule. So if you want to see the daily schedule, go to the website and hit schedule, and they'll show you what's going to be playing that day, right?
Right on. Well, hey, man, we really appreciate it. We're super stoked to be over here at Ground Zero Plus, man. And we're definitely, we definitely have a lot to offer, and we're doing the best we can with each time we get an opportunity to be on the air. I just want to remind people, you could come on over to Ground Zero Plus, become a member. You get access to a lot of information, and you could be around like-minded people. If you're into research, there's plenty of stuff over there. There's archives, all kinds of stuff. It's really
you've heard the rest. Now hear the best.
Exactly. F the rest. Right. F the rest. This is where, come on over where the best. You know what I mean?
And I was talking to Simon today. We're talking about the server structure in the future. We're going to have our own servers.
Well, let's not go down the technical rabbit hole. Now, what do you think? What do you think about this black noise we're talking about tonight? Because we're about to get into some, because I'm having a feeling that this great reset that we're talking about, that we have talked about, and that we'll continue to talk about, and you can see buildings buried all over the world, half buried windows at the ground level, so on and so forth. So it's clear some sort of liquefaction event happened. I don't think mud was flowing down from the mountains everywhere. It's clear that the shit was vibrated into the ground through liquefaction. Yeah. So what do you think?
When you vibrate a solid fast enough, it turns into liquid. It's that simple. And because when you vibrate, it causes heat. And heat is energy, and energy does all kinds of weird things.
Well,
we don't understand. I think that we do know about it, but they're not letting the public know about it. But there are people out here that know what's going on.
It's pretty much like melting the wax in a candle, right? When you add enough heat, the vibration in molecules increases and it liquefies.
Yeah, well, look at all those mountains that look like apartment complexes that got melted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right?
Was it Pumapuku or Machu Picchu?
There's all kinds of melted glass where there shouldn't be melted glass, right? There's also talk of how they put those structures together like thousands of years ago, and you can't even put a razor blade between them.
Yeah.
Right. The rocks, the big stones, and even today with today's technical equipment and cranes that we have, these big moving cranes, we can't even move one of those things.
No
right?
way.
So how was this done? And I think it was done a lot through sound technology and some kind of a plasma energy type stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing that they use when they're beaming around the sky, you know, going from one place to the next in a millisecond.
And that's the technology that existed before our current version of our situation here on Earth. You know, what's interesting too is that this is really funny to me. This is too funny to me that it's literally almost unbelievable, because the odds are almost, I mean, it's unbelievable. So on this show about 3-4 weeks ago, I had come on here and I said, hey, wait a minute, I'm starting to see I'm starting to get the idea about these world wars and about some of the destruction that happened, and seeing quite a bit of it happening to some of this old world buildings. And I put forward on here the supposition that maybe these world wars, they were done just to specifically bomb out a lot of this old world stuff that was laying around from before. And then you know, and it's kind of an out there kind of concept. And literally, I'm watching these shorts. I see this video where this guy's going, you know, I do go down the rabbit hole, and I think that the world wars were specifically fought just to destroy the Tartarian technology. I fucking couldn't believe it, man. Literally, I mean, what are the odds that I say something on here and then all of a sudden there's some random dude talking about going down rabbit holes? You think he means you think he means he listens to Ground Zero Plus? I think that's what he means when he says that. All right, listen.
Hey man, I'm gonna check out. I'll get emails to answer. You guys have a good one. I'll be listening in, and right you guys on. Take it easy.
Thanks a million. There he goes, Chris. He's busting ass over there, making it happen on the website. Thanks a lot, Chris, for everything, man. We really appreciate it.
Well, you're good, man.
Now listen, a while back, Reno and I talked a little bit about Sammy Hagar, and there's a particular cut from one of his early solo albums called Cracking the World.
Yes.
And the thing about it is, in the song, he talks about 2025. So, and it's interesting because we've talked about how, you know, a lot of these rockers and people, like there goes David Bowie with the Black Noise, which we're going to get into in, you know, a little bit here. Continue to get into it. This actually has something to do with it. So, but the thing is that for some reason these people are in these circles of fame, seem to have an idea of what's actually going on behind the scenes, and sometimes they let it slip out or they say shit. But you see a lot of these bands from a particular period of time, the lyrics of the songs that they're writing, what they're talking about. It's like maybe to everyone it appears like this guy's a black magician, or this guy does this, or this guy does that. But maybe it's because they've been exposed to material. They read a book, they met a guy, he said some shit, they went, you know, they did what we're doing with research, and then it comes out in their art and their artwork and their lyrics of their songs as they're writing about it. Maybe that's what's going on too. But I mean, in your case on the David Bowie, I'm not discounting that at all. I would agree with you 100% on that. But here, let's take a listen to this. Here comes Sammy Hagar, Cracking the World. It's Ground Zero Plus. It's the chilluminatti. Shh. Don't tell anybody.
There's no room to breathe.
So he says, in 50 years, we're all going to know what...
Well, the song came out in 75, so 50 more years and we're all going to know why, when, where, and how, and who gets to go.
Exactly. Who gets to go where? Underground, man.
Before the great divide, 'cause things will start separating come 2025.
Things will start
Before the
separating.
great divide, 'cause things will start separating come 2025. Come 2025. Come 2025. So look for the subtle clues. It won't make the front page news. But that depends upon which side that you choose.
Let us have it. It won't make the front page news.
So look for the subtle clues. It won't make
Yeah.
the front page news. It depends on which side that you choose.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what that makes me do? You know what that makes me want to do? Makes me want to do this. Hey, it's Ground Zero Plus. Listen up.
World will all experience weightlessness. They will all float. You'll float too. And depending on where you are, you'll probably get sucked up into the sky. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. Here's why. The weather on Earth is created by pressure, commonly known as pressure systems. Because the Earth is a giant magnet, there's a gigantic magnetic force, commonly called the magnetosphere, wrapped around it, pushing diamagnetic gases like nitrogen back towards the Earth, acting as a container to keep the pressure in. Extreme pressure will be found in the places where the force field exists, leading to crystallization of nearby gases. That electromagnetic shield disappears each time that the Earth hits a neutral point in its polarity reversal. When the pressure under that barrier is released, the Earth's electromagnetic field allows the stored pressure to be moved to the North Pole, where it will leave our world depressurizing the Earth. As the Earth rapidly depressurizes, a swirling vortex of cold wind develops, quickly creating the dark fog of a world storm. The winds from that tempest blow across the surface faster than a hurricane. Anything not strong enough to resist the winds will be caught in a turbulent updraft and pulled higher into the sky. Meanwhile, the massive release in pressure allows the Earth to expand, causing the ground to shake violently everywhere. Epic vibrations worldwide emit extremely low frequency waves up into the sky. Through acoustic levitation on a worldwide scale, everything not secured to the solid ground will float. The force of residual atmospheric pressure below us will overcome the weaker pressure above, creating lift. Buoyancy will be reversed as heavy objects suddenly become weightless in the winds of an electrical geostorm. Waters in the ocean and lakes will form tsunamis that do not crash. Some safety is provided to those living on the lee side of high mountain peaks, the winds blowing in the direction of the jet stream. The suction force will be its greatest inside the Arctic Circle and weaker further south. This event will last until the pressure relief is satisfied. Buoyancy slowly restores and the winds will die down. Anything that wasn't sucked up into the heavens will float back down to the swampy earth, muddied by liquefaction caused by the intense vibrations. This was once seen as the sky god Saturn, Kronos, eating his children only to vomit them back to the earth. Shayad sings about it in her song Trampoline. Soundgarden shows it on their Black Hole Sun video. In the Book of Mormon, it says,
"And there was a great and terrible destruction in the land southward, but behold, there was a more great and terrible destruction in the land northward."
The whole face of the land was changed because of the tempest and the whirlwinds and the thunderings and lightnings and the exceedingly great quaking of the whole earth. And there were some who were carried away in the whirlwind, and Whither they went, no man knoweth, save they know that they were carried away. In the Bible it says, "Then we who are alive, who are left, will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air." Even the word resurrection means to be lifted or to rise up. The myths will become reality. The Mormon account repeated. To Christians, the rapture. To Buddhists, nirvana. To New Agers, ascension. Billions of people, animals, insects, plants, water, dirt, dust, and debris of all kinds will find themselves to be the riders on the storm. Do I think that this will ever happen to me? Maybe when pigs fly. Maybe when pigs fly. You'll float too.
Hush now, don't you cry. Wipe away the teardrop from your eye. You're lying safe in bed. It was all a bad dream spinning in your head. Your mind tricked you to feel the pain of someone close to you leaving the game of life. So here it is, another chance. Wide awake, you face the day. Your dream is over, or has it just begun?
It's Ground Zero Plus. Mine's Jimmy. There goes Queen's Rye. Silent Acidity. Alright, man. Well, there you go. In a nutshell, when pigs fly. And we put that video link in the chat so you can check it out for yourselves. I don't know. But it puts the Great Reset into perspective. The liquefaction. The people. Where's all the people? Like you would think. Now listen. Let me ask you guys a question. Rio and Cock. Let me just say. Where's all the bodies from all these people that died? You know, there's no people. Where did all the bodies go? Like where's the bones and where's the graves and all this? There doesn't seem to be, in relation to there being empty places with full of buildings with no people. Where'd the people go? Maybe they just floated up into the sky. You know, everything was normal. You know, one day everything was cool. Next day, whoosh, people floated away. You know what I mean? And there was people that were left, but that's because there's astrological clocks, and there's clocks that have been built around the world that certain people have privy to or understand the coding of when a beam shines through the hole in that roof in that particular monument that's been set up. People go there and look at it and walk around in it, and they just have no idea what it is, but really it's a clock. And there's a guy that knows how to read that clock, and that information has been passed down lip to ear for, centuries. And whenever this beam of light hits a certain place in that place at a certain time, that's when you know you have a certain amount of time before pigs are going to fly. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, it's entirely possible that the whole liquefaction event is going to happen.
Well, that it did happen, and that's why you see a lot of it. A lot of this Tartarian lore about the societies and the civilizations that existed prior to this liquefaction event, And maybe the same liquefaction event was also taking place during the disappearance of Atlantis.
Well, maybe it's happened multiple times.
Exactamundo, man. Looks like the Epic Journeyman is over in the chat over in on YouTube.
Well, look at Ground Zero and 9/11, and all the waste from there got hauled away before you could examine it and see what brought those buildings down, and whatever Michelle Pfeiffer is can come up with around that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, what's really interesting, when you start looking into some of this stuff, it's literally, I got picture after picture after picture after picture that I've saved of this stuff. Of these giant, like there's a hotel down in Tampa in like the late 1800s. And this thing is giant. You couldn't fill this fucker with jets that fly around the world, with people with suitcases going someplace to go have a vacation. You couldn't keep this hotel full. So I'm asking myself, when I'm looking at this picture, what's going through my mind is I'm thinking, first of all, how long does it take to get on a fucking wooden ship and float my ass over here from Europe? Okay? All to go to some place, some hotel, to go sit on the beach. Now, I don't see that being something that regular people were doing. So to me, that would be a very minority at the time. So if it was that much of a minority based on the amount of population there was at the time, how could you even remotely fill that hotel? Who's traveling? What you telling me? You traveled, you sitting over there somewhere, you're shivering somewhere over in the UK, whatever, you're a chimney sweep, and all of a sudden you decide, hey, I think I'm going to go to Tampa. Here, let me work for like 2 years to save up enough money to get on that boat, and then come over here, and then get in the back of a wagon, and then go down to Tampa, down there, and then just show up, and just you got your swimsuits and all this shit packed in a suitcase? What the fuck's look at any hotels. Go look at hotels in New York City at this time, 1900s, late 1800s. Go look at it. You tell me how many people are traveling, staying on fucking hotels. It makes no sense, man. It makes absolutely no sense. But like, if you don't look at it, well, it doesn't really require any attention. But all of a sudden, when you start looking at all this stuff, none of it makes sense. None of it whatsoever. So what's going on with the Epic Journeyman? Is his Skype download done or whatever? Is his transition to Teams been made? What's going on with him over there?
I don't know.
He's active in the chat.
He's active in the chat, but I have not seen him in the Skype.
All right, well, listen, it's the top of the hour. It's going to be time for us to take a little musical interlude here. Everybody can go to the refrigerator, peek out the blinds.
There's supposed to be black noise and volcanoes as well.
Is that right? Well, listen, when we come back, we're going to get more. Well, we're going to get more into the black noise when we come back, irrespective of whatever happens with that. Mob's Jimmy. It is Ground Zero Plus. It's the inner sanctum. Come on in. Join the club. You're a member when you say you are.
as far away. It kinda looks like rain. Back inside, it's coming down.
Now, let me ask everyone to just stand by for a moment here. Here are the marks. Good.
This is Saturday Night Chilluminatti right here on Ground Zero Plus. Somehow you found it. Tell a friend.
Saw at a red light, headlights flashing like shooting stars. In the fast lane, like an aeroplane. Never saw a tail light. Windshield cracked like an insane. Was a long flight, but I'm alright now. I can tell you're falling. It's nice to know. I can tell you're falling. It's nice to know. Oh no, there you go. Now I won't be home for the late show.
They whisper in secret places in the dark. It's a Saturday Night Illuminati. We're talking about liquefaction. We're talking about sitting in your cubicle one day and all of a sudden you notice your stapler starts to flow off the table.
Shut down your feelings.
Should you run?
Shut down.
Nah.
Shut down your
So what? You think they just come crawling out later? I mean, have you seen some of these underground facility that they found, like over in Turkey, for example?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What would possess a civilization to crawl down there and dig that all out and have that all ready? And like some dude just like remodeling his bathroom. He's bashing the wall and he's saying, honey, look at this. Jesus H. Christ, what the hell is going on here? And then all of a sudden they go down inside, there's a whole city down there.
Yeah. Well,
so
I think there's a lot of stuff that's hidden that we don't know, right? As far as the hidden cities that are still underground. They just dug one up recently. A couple of weeks ago, they found another one.
I know. We'll see, the big difference is now you have the power to scour the earth, every inch of it, with people that have phones and people that are there, people finding stuff, people making videos.
Well, don't forget about all them satellite images now too, right? They're finding pyramids that have been, forested over by nature, in the Amazon and stuff like that too. I mean, there's all sorts of hidden things going on.
Yeah. All right.
And it's not unbelievable that these whole kind of events could have happened, because even the things in the Amazon, like how did the entire city just vanish with nobody knew anything about it, and now we find it hundreds of years later. Same thing with the site in Turkey. The whole civilization just vanished with no record. It's very possible.
So the inverse of white noise obviously is black noise. No spectrum, no balance, just void. Used in experimental weapon systems, rumored to cause nervous system disruption, temporary insanity, acoustic destruction of matter, and it's a force with no center, only collapse. And that's why I was saying earlier that immediately when I started finding out about this idea from Bowie, immediately what came to my mind is a black hole. So recently someone's just created a black hole in a laboratory recently. Like within the last couple.
That's comforting.
I know, in the last couple of weeks.
Suck the entire solar system into it in a matter of minutes.
Is Epic going to come on here?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. I thought he was going to call in there on the musical break.
Yeah.
I guess we have to, I don't know. I don't know if his Skype's working.
Maybe he's just lurking.
Could be. All right, so Earth under resonant pressure becomes fluid. ELF or extreme low frequencies activate and the ground collapses. Cities sink, not from floodwater, but from within. Buildings buried mid-frame, perfectly intact under layers of mud. That's what would happen in a liquefaction event during a pole reversal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, here. Black noise is a frequency void, a sound that breaks structures, not ears, an untraceable, unhearable force that unmakes. Ask a listener. Have you guys ever experienced any of this black noise? Did you grab him? I think he was just calling in.
He didn't call me.
Yeah.
See him. I'll grab him.
Yeah, he just called in. I just couldn't grab it because I was reading.
Oh, well, he must have called you directly then, because it didn't do anything here.
Huh. We'll just go ahead and add him anyhow. Anywho.
All right, I'll get him.
All right, 718-618-9905 is the number to call. So what we're talking about is this global reset event where liquefaction took place, and these world fairs, maybe they weren't inventions, maybe they were guys that got thrown in there. Hey, you, Edison, you invented electricity over there with Tesla. You guys battle it out.
Even that little clip of black noise I played earlier, you could hear it, but that was cranked to such an extraordinary level to be able to hear that. Normally, you could underlay that into a song and you'd never even know it's there. You know, at even a normal hearing level, you won't hear it. You know, think of that that bit I played is like stadium sound level black noise.
Yeah, well, I mean, just,
you know, so, you know, what you would normally hear in your headphones or coming out your TV or something, it's completely inaudible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then we saw these next rad antennas. For some reason, these videos that I downloaded, the sound is there, but there's no pictures of these next rad antennas. Now, I don't know how this guy was even seeing this, because it appeared that whatever he was looking at was some sort of a weather radar map. Because
you can see it in a spectrum analyzer.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't know what he was doing. He had it on some sort of a weather map, and because you could see the storms, but he had it set up in such a way that he could look at some, I guess, frequencies. And
well,
you could
thunder itself will emanate some black noise as a you know, after you hear the thunder rumble for a second, if you notice, it gets real silent for a brief moment after you hear the rumbling stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the black noise spot. So it's no surprise that a weather system would pick that up, because it's tuned in to pick up the lightning strikes and the sounds of thunder and whatever within the storm. So it's in that frequency range.
So CAC or either one of you guys type in next rad. So these are next rad. Yeah, so next rad is an antenna system that goes across the United States. And these next rad antennas were the ones that were lighting up. Literally, you could see the blue from these towers every time this pulse happened, and it went from East Coast to West Coast. And you could see as the wave went across the United States, it started on the East Coast and it went boom, boom, like a wave, and it would hit the West Coast, and then it would start over again on the East Coast, and it would hit the West Coast and start over, and you could see the frequency being pumped out of these antennas, and wherever there was a bunch of them, it was lit up like a Christmas tree. And then there were some places in America where it really wasn't lit up too much. You know, it looked over in the area of Colorado was a lot of was less from what I could see on this map. Did you guys?
I would imagine that something like the Rocky Mountains would interfere with the transmission of the wave.
There you go. Well, listen, CAC, did you type in next rad? Did you guys find any next rad information?
We go. Let me unmic. Yeah, there we go. Doppler radar technology measures velocity and direction of precipitation, rain, snow, hail by analyzing frequency shifts in reflected radio waves.
Okay, so these next rad radar facility were blasting across the United States, pulsing from 9/11 at night until 9/11 the next morning. It started.
There's that weird number again.
It started.
Isn't this based on the X-band radar that they used to put off on ships? That they'd actually have the ship go out, and the ship would rotate, like it'd fill ballast tanks and deploy, and have these radars, along the Gulf of Mexico and all those other places. Yeah.
Well, exactly, because if you look at the United States frequency spectrum, below 8 megahertz is maritime. So yeah, of course that would make sense.
Yep, it's a network of 160 high-powered Doppler radars.
Well, what I saw going on, Epic Journeyman's joined us. So Epic, there was a guy that put out a video, and it was basically showing a pulse that was happening for 12 hours every night, beginning on April 18th. It was 18th, 19th, and 20th, I think. And the thing is, and the reason I was bringing it up is because people have been complaining about being tired, and I was just saying, if this type of pulsing is going on all night long, every single night that we don't know about it, you could literally see these radars lighting up coast to coast, and it looked more than 160 to me. It looked like thousands of them, and it was showing like the radius of transmission in a blue light. So you would see the towers blast in a blue light, and it would be in some states it would cover the whole fucking state.
You're talking about the graphic display of showing the coverage?
No, this was actual. This was like
beacons on top of the tower.
Well, this was a way. This guy had a weather map lit up, and he had it dialed in such a way where he was able to see frequencies that you wouldn't normally see unless you dialed it in.
Okay, yeah, like a weather forecasting radar kind of
right.
thing.
But what happened was he documented this weird pulse that was going on, and it wasn't the first time I've seen this type of thing. It was a couple months ago. I saw another video just like it, and so we started talking about because we started getting into the concept of black noise. And, what are these pulses and what is going on psychologically with people across the nation? Why are they so tired all the time? We're just getting beat to a pulp with some unheard frequency that's getting pulsed every night, all night long, 12 hours a night, starting from the East Coast.
It's the radar vampire. It's not pulsing us. It's taking energy away and taking it someplace else. Right?
You're onto something. I think you're onto something there, man. That is definitely a great fucking concept, Epic Journeyman.
I mean, why wouldn't they, right? At a certain point, it's like when all this technology is out there and you can do it, they have to have a beta testing program. And then after that, they go live, It's like this thing with all of a sudden, they talk about Altman's, when I go too far into Altman's sky orb, not orb, eye orb, rather. But, the thing is, like, since that stuff got announced, has anybody noticed, like, everything requires your phone? Like, everything? You go log on your email, and what's your phone? You want everything is your phone. Why? All of a sudden, it's all being linked that way. Like, if you don't have your phone, you're screwed, right? So why wouldn't they do the same kind of thing where the technology is there to take the energy that we have and the data that we have stored in our brains and our phones and everywhere else and just take it and that's the upload. And that's why it's at night. You're trying to sleep. It's the radar vampire, man. It's electromagnetic vampire just taking our data and taking our
man, you're onto something here, man, because I think it does sap your actual physical energy, especially since there's, we were talking about the Internet of Things, and we were talking about these smart meters and these pulse, the download pulse that happens at 3 o'clock in the morning where everybody wakes up. Okay, honey, I don't know why I keep waking up at 3 every day. Between 3 and 4, I see.
3:10 a.m. It's always 3:10 a.m. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah,
right, because that's where there's no traffic on the Internet of Things, and they burst their downloads from all these meters. The secret Internet of Things wireless network that's been installed on everyone's house. It's almost like a mini cell tower, and there's these concentric rings where they all make a giant footprint, and then there's a giant wireless network that's all transmitting on that frequency, nation fucking wide, man. Get it?
I wonder, is it that, are they trying to interrupt our REM sleep? A lot of people think that's what it is, to keep us unhealthy and keep us from being, psychically aware and all these other things. Or is it
it's certainly working on me, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too. I'm telling you. Or is it because that's the time when all those most valuable assets of our dream state, our subconscious melding to our conscious mind, and the downloads that happen through our day that make that all work in the collective unconscious are actually all being downloaded in our brains, right? All being assimilated, and that's the time they can snag them most effectively. Then.
Black noise causes disruption in body structure and cognition. See, this goes back to the discussion about harmonization. This also goes back to the discussion about your dreams being infiltrated by interlopers, and your actual dream state being able to be affected by what's been gleaned out of you from your devices, from your eye movements, from your Fitbit, from your smartwatch, from your holding your phone while you jog, whatever the F you do. It's all being calculated and fed back to you as it's being it's like a regurgitation of your worst moods, a regurgitation of your biggest fears, all these things that get triggered psychologically by some shit, some things, some black noise tone, the black noise bomb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what bothers me is I wonder. I'm not saying this is what's happening, like the things I said earlier. I'm not saying that's what's happening. Just conjecture, of course, wild speculation. But I wonder if, like, when you have your cell phone so close to you, everybody sleeps. Not everybody, but so many people with it on their nightstand, closer to bed or whatever, right? And it's it's really sensitive to this electromagnetic spectrum signals coming everywhere, passing throughout our environment. Looking for a signal. And what if our aura expands the most in that REM sleep state, our personal energy that surrounds us, and when it infringes upon the detectable ability of that device we have all in our bedstand, or most people have at their bedstand, that's the uplink. That's the trigger. Now's the time. It just happens to be 3:10 a.m. for so many people, right?
718-618-9905. Tell us what you think. It's Ground Zero Plus. Come on down. Become subscribers to the Ground Zero Plus platform. We've got a lot of great stuff going on over there. Like, for example, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Pacific, I'm going to crawl out here and freeze my ass off just to bring the Wake and Bake. Rock and Rio going to be here? You better be. 718-618-9905. Johnny Fiat's over in the chat. Hey, Leslie, what's going on? Karen's over there. Flippy's over there. Woohoo! Amber too. Linda. Ronan. Listen, I'm going to come over to Ground Zero chat. Rock and Rio, you want to go over there? Shout them out. I'm going to shout out that chat over in the Ground Zero. You got to become a member if you want to get in there.
It's been a long time, I thought you'd get it. Been a long time, but I finally beat the blood back like you. It's been a long time, let's just forget it. Gotta drive lives and then slowly trace the veins, put it back in your heart.
There goes OSI. Blood is the name of that track.
You help me to cut our losses, 'cause dreaming isn't living. Don't come home. Enough is enough. Coin tosses. We don't know how to treat it or leave it alone.
All right. So, here. Signs of a news cycle. Shifting poles, persistent sky hums, and rising reports of disorientation, pressure, and strange weather. Well, strange weather, it's freezing cold here in Northern California right now. I mean, I'm not saying it has anything to do with that, but I was actually thinking it's kind of weird that this weather, it's not normal over here for it to be this cold. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. It's the Saturday night chilluminatti. Now, Epic Journeyman, this black noise also has a tie back to this ultra wideband SSSS technology we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Rock and Rio. What were the frequencies there? It's like 600 megahertz, right?
Yeah, 600 and below. Specifically down in the single hertz range. But humans can generally hear from 20 hertz up. So anything below that,
All right.
Are you trying to say that the cachlea can't decipher anything below that?
Oh, it can decipher it, but your brain does not acknowledge it as sound. It's a
vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a very strange thing because, yeah, there is a thing in your ears with the little hairs in the cochlea that are tuned. Each hair is tuned to a specific frequency, and that's why, like, as you get older and the shorter ones tend to die off quicker, you start losing the top end of your hearing range and a little bit of the bottom end too. So there is part of it that it doesn't register that way, but your eardrum still moves to the pressure wave of it. So your brain still detects it as a muscle response or a vibration. It just does not acknowledge it as sound because it does not stimulate the cochlea. So your body still picks it up, and your brain still detects it. It just it doesn't become sound.
Got it.
All right then. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. So I don't know. This whole global reset concept with the buried buildings, the buried cities, even this civil war at this point to me is suspect. The damage, the damage that you see.
Right from the cannons and the brick buildings back in the day.
Yeah, because
destroyed them all.
Because I live in Santa Cruz when the 1980 earthquake happened here. Every building that was brick hit the ground. If you had a brick house, it was to the ground. So the thing is what we bring forward around this subject here about the Civil War destruction is that cannonballs don't blow up like they do in cartoons. So when you shoot a cannonball, it puts a hole in whatever you shoot it at. It's like a big giant bullet. So in order to achieve the destruction that you see in some of the Civil War stuff with the brick all laying all in the buildings all, there's you'd have to shoot a million cannonballs. Your cannons you'd have to have 100 cannons going nonstop 24 hours a day. How would you haul all those cannonballs just to one site for one war, one battle in some war? It doesn't make sense. Where's all the cannonballs? I don't see a shit. When the brick in the destruction of the brick, is there just as many cannonballs laying around? Because that's about what it would take, right? You'd probably have one cannonball for every 10 bricks.
Right, there's some ratio, some formula.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about the other day, which may or may not apply to this. You talked about liquefaction and stuff kind of earlier, and I missed the start of it. But and of course, you could make relationships to magma and that kind of thing. But the one that struck me, I was unrelated because I was thinking about it last week when I was at work, and I started thinking about the idea of the antediluvian time and how after the flood. Before the flood. But what happened was the ground was cursed. And what did that mean for the ground to be cursed? And I started thinking about the idea that, these people built all this stuff. They built Babel and did all these things. They did all these things after they left, Eden, right? And what about this cursed ground? What did it mean for the ground to be cursed? And maybe what it meant for the ground to be cursed, it was unstable. Right? It was unstable, that nothing lasted, nothing stood, right? And so there's no evidence of those things in antediluvian times because it was constantly being shook with seismic activity or whatever, right? And that is why this liquefaction thing you're talking about is the idea that before even the flood, a lot of this evidence of these things, this culture existed before us, is gone because the ground was cursed. And God only lifted the curse later on. Right?
Well, it also discussed the standing, like if there's a body of water when this type of an event happens, when the atmosphere gets sucked out and the magnetic poles shift, it talks about these standing waves of water, these tidal waves that never come down. But imagine, so they're rising up because there's no gravitational pull holding anything down anymore, and the water in the ocean rises up like a giant tidal wave, and then at some point when everything comes back to normal, it just drops back to the earth. Maybe that's the flood.
Well, I thought about that too, and how that relates to Agartha and the inner earth that people call the hollow earth sometimes. And the idea that king of the world is Brahma, who lives down in this realm down there. It's not just the king of the world, it's all these other people, they share duties. And it's a whole story we won't get into today too much. But the idea that when you look at the flux of the magnetic poles, and how if you look at it, people see these space shots with the animation, right, where it looks like a magnet, where there's like hemispheres that go around each side of the pole and go in the north and the south. And at the north and the south, they dive directly in to, like, it's almost, from the side view, it's split in half, right? There's lines of flux, and they meet at the poles on both sides, right? But what if that's the entryway to Agartha's inner earth, and the gravity we think of, and the lines of control of the environment, and everything holds everything stable and on the earth and the planet is just being inverted on the other side. Right, and it is Antarctica, it is the North Pole, in these places. I've been in the North Pole, I didn't see anything weird there, but I experienced weird stuff there, but I didn't see anything like that. Mm-hmm. But still, what if, right? What if, instead of being the way that we all think it is, that it is a multi-plane realm, right? Where we're on the top and they're on the bottom, and when they're on the bottom, it's not the bottom then. You know what I mean? And that, so that's where all the antediluvian people that survived are, according to the esoteric philosophy that talks about Agartha, right? Is that that's where they are. The enlightened beings, the enlightened ones, are in the inner earth, right? They're in Agartha, and that's Shambhala, ties to that and all that other stuff.
Well,
but
what about that? What about that book, The Celestine Prophecy? There's this concept that's put forward in there when they're looking at some ruins, Peru or whatever, and the guy says, everyone just disappeared. We don't know where they went. They just disappeared. It was just there just one day, and they just disappeared. Everyone was gone. All the shit was still here because it was built with a lot of marble and all this other stuff, but they're just gone. And
you know what they all had? They all had a story in their mythology, and actually built upon it, about the underworld.
Whoa.
Even the Mayans, they had this whole cavern system that they built, and people went into, and they started. Only the priests could go at a certain point. And this was like this access to the underworld in Turkey, like we were talking about earlier, and in ancient Greece, I mean, all these places, right? Hades. So what if it's not the hellscape? What if it's actually, another realm, right?
Okay, so,
and when they dug down so far, they got there.
Listen, if you got a computer, go over there and go to YouTube and type in square waves. Square waves. Yeah, there's a phenomenon been going on. The waves are square, perfectly square.
Well, it's digital noise.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the whole ocean, dude. Go type this in. Seriously, Amber just reminded me of it. I forgot to tell you guys about it last week. Seriously, go on YouTube and type in square waves.
Oh, it's square wave, ocean waves.
Yeah, you're not gonna believe it. Something it looks exactly like cymatics when you hit something with frequency, and it makes a pattern on top with sand. It looks just like that. Hey, it's Ground Zero Plus. It's the Chilluminatti Saturday night. I'm telling you right now, go look right now. Square waves. Go look at it. Driving a truck, don't look at it right now. Look at it later.
She sleeps on a vine under that moonlit sky. Take her down, lay her at the altar. And as the evening
guys see it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, apparently it's a natural phenomenon.
Yeah,
that
give me
occurs around certain islands.
Give me a break, dude. That is no natural phenomenon. Especially go type in cymatics on YouTube.
Oh no, I agree, but there's
something's generating that frequency. Is it the Earth itself? Is there some vibration coming up from the Earth itself?
Well, it's called a cross sea, and it's been written about for several hundred years. And it's the intersection of two different wave systems.
How do you know? How do you know
it's dangerous because it can capsize boats.
How do you know it's been written about for hundreds of years?
Because it says so.
It says so right there.
It says so right here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Well, I mean,
the fuck yeah.
It says sea captains have written about it for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
no, they have.
As a danger in the sea that could cause capsizing. So you're the Navy guy, Epic. Is that realistic?
Columbus wrote about a spinning fluorescent wheel, like the wheel of a ship spinning in the Sargasso Sea. It was a Bermuda Triangle. I mean, so there's stories going back in ancient ship captains, not even ancient, but going back to Middle Ages and beyond, are well documented.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a trip. I mean, it's a real thing. And the thing is, it does look totally artificial, doesn't it?
I'm not saying it's not it can't be artificially generated. It probably is, but it does occur naturally too.
The argument is just like the hexagonal rocks that build up in the coast of Ireland and England, right? Where Ireland specifically, I think, is where this giant, and there's perfect hexagons, right? They're like towers. They all interlink, and supposedly it's all natural, and they're like 6 feet across, let's say, for example. And there's a bunch of them all interlinked. They're the same size. And his parts of them broke off, so it's like steps going up and down the coast. You're like, how is that freaking possible? It's a beehive, right? I mean, it's not possible. Or that temple off the coast of Japan, they call it a temple because it's got all those right angles, right? And this goes back to the square waves. Right angles are not natural. They just aren't. But apparently they are, right?
Here's the thing that blows me out on it is that this may be one of the signs that this, what we're talking about, is about to happen. And so the thing is that from a cymatic standpoint, making that water go like that, there could be just some frequency coming out of the Earth. The Earth could be vibrating a certain way under that water, under that ocean. Now, what's up with this water cropping up in the Grand Canyon all of a sudden?
Wait. Before I forget, you just maybe had it's not a great thing. It's just something I thought about that maybe trip about it. So what if there's digital technology in Agartha on the inner Earth, the hollow Earth, right? And it's the resonance of their, digital technology, the ones and zeros, making the square waves. And that's the resonance, the harmonics bubbling up from the, through the medium of the water.
Well, I feel you on that, and if I was gonna go join you in that supposition, I would say maybe they just get to a point where civilization gets to a certain point, and they just go, you know what, man, we gotta erase these fuckers, and again, just hit the button, Bob,
reset, yeah,
and it's just liquefaction, and everybody floats up in the air, and that's the end of it. And then they send out an ark with some work animals like horses and sheep. Yeah.
In the genetic code of all the other animals, right? In vials, like, stashed away where the AI mother, little robot just, tends to them and releases them at the appropriate time.
Mm-hmm. No, seriously, though. No, so Rock and Rio, what do you think now? Now you've had a chance to look at it again. You see those the perfect squares? What's up with that, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, some of them definitely look artificial, without a doubt. Cymatics is a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some really, really cool experiments with different bass and different stuff happening to water and lifting stuff off the ground. So, the acoustical resonance and the vibration, just pushing shit up in the air.
Oh, yeah, acoustic levitation's a thing.
Yeah, maybe that's how they moved all these giant pillars into place when they were building these giant buildings with giant doors for small-ass people. They were just building these giant buildings, with nothing, no reason for the headspace at all. There's no storage. There's nothing. It's just, giant, beautiful structures, hundreds of feet tall inside with no real reason. And, hey, Bob, tell you what, go have the craftsman make me about 50 benches. We're going to put them in here and call this a church. I'm going to put some pews in here, put a place for a guy to stand over there. And since nobody can read, you just say what's in, say what's in the Bible and they'll believe it. Whatever you say is in there. Because they can't read. All right, listen.
It's a hangar for the flying monks. That's what it is. They might be a little off course, they're not meditating perfectly, so they're too low or too high, but so you have to make a big entrance.
Well, I'd rather be a flying monkey than a monkey with a pair of cymbals in my hand.
Oh, flying monk! They're enlightened, right? They're flying. There's a whole mythology of the flying monk.
These nations have progressed through this sequence from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from great courage to liberty, and from liberty to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to complacency, from complacency to apathy, and from apathy back to dependence, and from dependence back to bondage, back to bondage, back to bondage. Logic alone would tell you the republic is being destroyed.
Tomorrow morning, it's Sunday morning, wake and bake. You gonna be here, Rio?
Possibly.
You better be here tomorrow, man. You better be
here. It depends on the rain.
Better be here, man. Listen.
It'll depend on the rain.
I'm gonna start the first hour off just right to get your day going and get your weekend.
Got to be kidding, man, cause in the prime meridian, ripping it in a stick with the wickedness flow. Swinging low on my chariot, pick it up and I'm carrying, turn up the fader and I push it the most. I know you're bumping it, loving it, and it jumping with the elevated feeling, put you in the Rambo. You got the Jones in your bones, make yourself at home. We bring a message that you never should love.
Sound like that. See, I already forgot about the black noise.
I could play some more of it if you like.
Don't play any more black noise.
Well, it's funny because that at the beginning of that video is bordering on the edge of black noise itself.
That doesn't surprise me.
I would call that a dark brown heading into black. Or actually dark red heading into black.
Fade to black.
Because brown noise isn't really the color brown. It's named after Robert Brown, but that's a whole different thing.
Well, listen, time is just about running out, man. We got about 12 some odd minutes left. If you want to call in, this is the time to do it. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. Black Noise, CAC. Final words on black.
I got a quick question. Yeah, I got a quick question. I want to axe to Epic Journeyman. As a storied man of the seas, have you ever heard of the incredible Mr. Limpid?
I have, actually, of course.
And how he used his sonic talents to save the fleet from the German U-boats.
Sinking the U-boats, that's right.
So how does that work? I mean, can you give me like a little rundown on the sonic science there?
Well, I don't know if that would actually work, but if you had the resonant frequency, the holes, the pressure holes, not the outer holes, of the submarines, you could do something like that. Absolutely you could if you had enough energy behind it. to implode, resonate the holes of those subs and sink them. But no, it was a good movie. I like Don Knotts in the show.
Well, just think of like Whale Song, right? You could vibrate a submarine apart with something similar.
You totally could. I mean, that's one of the things that always bothered me is like we always joked in the Navy on the subs, right? That the whole thing is held together with duct tape and tie wraps. If the Soviets came up with a weapon that could, just disintegrate tie wraps and duct tape, we'd be screwed.
I'm liking the I like CAC. I like the cut of your jib on this question because this is exactly the same thing as what we've been talking about. Because if Mr. Limpid could go ooh and blast a ultra low frequency, it is the kind of thing that can destroy something. Now, whether you could destroy a submarine, I don't know, because I mean it's different underwater. So I don't know what frequency could do to something like a submarine.
Well, I would think it would be just like an opera singer breaking a glass.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You could use a lower frequency at an object. Like you could destroy any object with sound if you tune it right. I mean, the walls of Jericho came down with trumpets, right? So,
well,
it's absolute fact. Actually, you can. I mean, sonic weapons have been in development going back to Archimedes at least, and the idea that if you knew the size and the hole and the resonant frequency of, like, okay, what worked on U 235 might not work on U 102 or whatever, right? But because of different sizes, right? But if you knew the length and the makeup of the hole and what resonated like a tuning fork, absolutely. When that thing's down at 200 feet or whatever, because they didn't go that deep back then, it was like 400 feet at most. You could totally compromise the pressure hole.
When I started looking into this stuff, really,
you need a lot of energy behind it. It's more just a noise, right? It needs to be energy behind it. But yeah, you could.
So when I started looking into this stuff earlier today, I reminded myself of a video that I saw about 10 years ago, which I never could find again. And it was basically a video that was in Russian, talking about this Greek scientist who had invented this oscillating device that could be put into space, and it could be beamed down focused on a portion of the Earth and begin to oscillate and cause this chain reaction like we were talking about earlier with the guys marked down on the bridge. This was a weapon. And it was an actual cartoon animation of the device in space, represented by sort of a satellite-looking thing that was floating around, and then it showed these wave-like patterns coming out of the satellite structure onto the Earth, and then the Earth beginning to vibrate and resonate to a point where it happened everywhere on the whole Earth, and it was described as a doomsday weapon.
Oh, earthquake machine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the lore behind the Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla, not the company Tesla, where he made that little ground pounder device where it just, intervals, dump, 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 where the sheriff came out. I think it was a sheriff came out and shut it down. So people were just going to vibrate the barns down and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's a real thing. If you know the right frequency, you know the interval, the amount of power it takes.
There's no way. Everything on this Earth has been figured out what the frequency of it is at this point.
Yeah, but I could even give you an example from an automotive standpoint, right? Certain engines or certain exhausts on the engines create frequencies that will cause the nuts to back off the bolts in the car. Like you can actually watch the nut spin itself off a bolt for no apparent reason, just because the frequency happens to be right.
Yeah.
Well,
so it does occur, and if you knew that particular frequency, you could play it through a speaker and cause the nut to work itself off.
I'm saying you could play this through some sort of a subwoofer and start a whole chain reaction of like guys marching over a bridge and totally destroy a whole city.
Well, yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Time is up. We're time at.
Too bad. Just got here. Damn it.
I know. Well, we can go into overdrive on YouTube, but we got to say goodnight to Ground Zero Plus. And we'll be back tomorrow morning for the wake and bake, where you keep it light. Paddle into the seductive cove over here, secluded and seductive. In that, we're going to try to get some good vibes going first thing in the morning. All right. Stay tuned on YouTube, Ground Zero Plus. We love you. We really appreciate being here. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Some velvet morning when I'm straight, I'm
this storm is coming like a ghost town. All the clubs are being closed down.
It's still lagging though. Oh, when I switch,
You almost got caught in the ghost town. Yeah.
well, I don't know what's going on, but
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I'm okay with us going right now. If that's what we got to
Back
do.
to Lee Hazelwood. That's a great song, man. Hey, quick question. I know you got to go to bed, but Do you think that The Love Bug, another Don Knotts movie, The Love Bug was actually the first car that was powered by AI?
Well, I don't know if Don Knotts was in it. It was
Tim Conway.
Tim Conway.
Yeah, Tim Conway and what's the guy's name? Yeah, the he was fat for his day. I can't remember the guy's name, but at the time too. But yeah, no, I mean the thing is number 53, right? 53 is 8 is eternity. So it was that, I guess. But yeah, no, I do think it's interesting